Hey guys, it's Warren here, and if you're like me and you're starting to go a little bit crazy with this coronavirus lockdown and you're looking for some DIY jobs to do, then here's a brilliant one to build some bookends. All you'll need is one piece of wood, some cardboard, some glue and some screws, and if you have a scrap bit of wood knocking around, or you can use pallet wood, then you probably won't even need to leave the house to build these. Now, firstly take your scrap piece of wood. Here I'm using a piece of wood that's 4 inches wide and 3/4 of an inch deep. Then mark 4 points along the piece of wood of equal distance apart, and the distance between the points needs to be the height that you want your bookends to be. And now simply using either a handsaw or a mitre saw, cut along these lines so you have 4 pieces of wood of equal length. Next we need to create the 45-degree angle pieces that will keep your bookends together. So adjust your mitre saw to a 45-degree angle, or if you're using a handsaw, use a mitre block. Then using your spare piece of wood, cut off a triangle section at the end. Now readjust your mitre saw back to its 90-degree angle, then cut off the angled edge which should be left on your spare piece of wood. You should then be left with 2 triangular pieces of wood that are a similar size to each other. And now we're going to attach all of our pieces of wood together to create our bookends. Firstly, take 2 pieces of the straight cut wood and secure them in place as shown. Then using a drill, create 2 pilot holes so we can attach these 2 pieces of wood together using screws. And so the screws sit flush, use a countersink on the 2 pilot holes which will create an indentation for the screw heads. And now carefully insert 2 screws into the pilot holes. And remember to ensure the pilot holes have a large enough diameter to ensure the wood doesn't split when the screws are inserted. Next, take one of the triangular pieces of wood that we cut out earlier and place it onto the bookend. Now establish where you can safely insert 2 screws so you can attach the triangular piece of wood to each side of the bookend, mark these points, then drill a pilot hole through each of the points. Now line up the triangular pieces of wood up against the right angle of your bookend, then through the pilot hole you've already drilled, continue drilling through a pilot hole into the triangular section as well, whilst securely holding everything in place. Again, use a countersink on the holes you've just drilled and then insert some screws to fasten everything into place. And once you've done this for one bookend, repeat all the steps exactly the same for the second bookend using the remaining pieces of wood we cut earlier. And at this point you may want to make any adjustments to the size of your bookend, for example if either the length or the height of them are too long. And now it's time to show your bookends some love. So get some fine sandpaper and rub it over all of the edges of your bookends to make them nice and smooth. Plus you can also paint them if you want. And now for the next step, which will stop your bookends from falling over from the weight of your books. Using either wood glue or PVA glue, stick your bookends onto a piece of cardboard that's a similar length as shown. And then simply leave the glue to dry, and there you have it, that's your set of bookends complete. And this is the perfect solution to keep all those books nice and neat and tidy.